finally forced to do it. Retire. The problem with retirement is it happens when you're aging. And people say you only retire because you're old. Am I old? Definitely not. Well, the brain says I'm not, the body's starting to go that way, that tells me yes, you are getting old. The problem with aging is things happen to the body. The eyesight goes, the hearing goes. Beauty these days with small hearing aids, you can't even see them. Physically, you're worn out. Physical activity is an interesting aspect. Take sex, for example. It now takes me all night what I used to be able to do all night. But there is one thing worse. There is one thing worse. Oh, that's it. The memory goes. You start to forget things. And that becomes a problem when you're out, especially when you're an old guy. Not me. I'll tell you a story about an old guy. I play golf every Wednesday afternoon. My wife, she who must be obeyed, allows me Wednesday afternoon to play golf. A wonderful woman. Now, last week, my mate and myself, we teamed up with these two old guys. They must have been at least 75 to 80. And we introduced one another, and there was Doug and Sam. And Sam was about to tee off. And Sam's standing there and he says, Doug, you know my eyesight's not good, and you know I hate wearing glasses when I'm teeing off. Will you please watch where my ball goes? Sam tees off. Straight down the middle of the fairway, took a slight deviation to the right. That's fine. But we're walking down the fairway after that, we've all teed off. And Sam turns around to Doug and says, Doug, you've got good eyesight, you saw where my ball went. And Doug said, yeah, I saw where your ball went. And Sam says, well, where is it? He said, I can't remember. This is the big problem as you're getting older. The mind starts to go on you. And an interesting thing happens when you're getting older and you're retired, but more time on your hands. Time's absolutely brilliant. When I was working, I used to go shopping Saturday mornings with She Who Must Be Obeyed. And it was always a quick coffee, into Woolies, trolley, down the aisles, bop, 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 everything in, out of the checkout. Now, when you retire, you've got time on your hands. So what do? She's wandering off. Oh, I'm reading labels. Oh, do we need that? Do we need that? See what's in that? Meanwhile, she's gone. But you can annoy your wife, and the best way to do it is when she's not watching, you sneak things off the shelf and you put them in the trolley. The expression on her face when you get the checkout is worth it. It's worth the fact that when you finally get home, she's no longer to make your dinner for you, you're making your own dinner, and you're in the doghouse with the dog. My wife is an extraordinary person. I only have one problem though. And the story around this one is that a good mate of mine said to me one day, he said, Derek, why do you call your wife still? You call her darling and lovey and sweetheart. He said, I've also noticed occasionally you call her the spouse, the wife, the old girl, she who must be obeyed. Why's that? It's simple. About 6 months ago, I forgot what her name was. And I'm too scared to ask the old girl what it is. I'm too embarrassed to ask my mates what it is. So I just call her the old girl, the wife, the spouse, and whatever is necessary. But a lovely woman. A lovely woman. Did I mention that previously? Forgetting things is quite interesting. So what they do now, they have an old timers test. They ask you all these questions. But the beauty about retirement is you don't worry about what the day of the week it is, do you? It could be Monday, it could be Tuesday. It doesn't matter. Every day is exactly the same. So they put me through this old timers test. And the old timers test, first one was, how many days in the week are there? Simple. 7. I can get that one right. Okay, what are they? Is it 4 Saturdays and 3 Sundays, was it 3 Saturdays and 4 Sundays? Now, one thing I do every night is I have a prayer. It's called a senility prayer. And the prayer goes like this. Lord, grant me the wisdom to be able to forget all the people in my life I've never liked. But the good fortune to remember the ones that I do, and the eyesight to remember the difference when I meet them.